The conversation around quiet quitting is a really important conversation to be had. And as someone that's always been the first one at the office, the last one to leave, and a top performer, I really understand the sentiment of people that are on this boat. First and foremost, there's a lot of misunderstanding, it seems to me, about what quiet quitting implies. And as I understand it, it implies that you are giving 100% if you're an hourly employee within the scope of your job description during the hours that you are hired. And I think that's healthy. And for the same reason that a homeless person shouldn't be the one donating to a Harvard endowment. In a large cap corporation, the corporation should be giving the opportunity cost payment to the employee. They're the ones that can afford it. And unless they are a charity or about to go bankrupt, I fail to see where that would even be a problem. As it pertains to salary, independent contractors, and commissions, I fail to see how this would even apply. In commissions, obviously, the employee would only be hurting themselves because whether they work 1 hour or 17 hours, they're the ones that are ultimately being hurt. And if someone is slacking in that regard, they should probably quit the job because they are then affecting the opportunity cost of the corporation. Just don't be there. As it pertains to salary, I could see this only applying when it goes outside the scope of the contract which you were hired for. If that's the case, there's no point in being quiet. Tell your management that something is outside of the scope of your contract and that you're happy to do it if you are, and that you just want to negotiate that in or get an hourly payment. I fail to see how that would be a problem. As it pertains to independent contractor, whether it takes you 2 hours or 27, you're the one that's going to be ultimately affected, and it's going to be your workday. So again, I fail to see how that applies in that regard. In upper management, if you're that type, you really couldn't quite, that would be horrible. There's no reason to do it. Simply either revert to a lower position or quit or just go into consulting. But all in all, I think the conversation around quiet quitting really revolves around a culture of performative wokeness companies that want to induce people by over-promising possibilities and culture and not setting proper expectations as to what the job entails, and then expecting them to pick up the slack and just basically gaslight themselves to look good in the eyes of the company. And I think that's really toxic. It also brings into a conversation something that is known in the narcissistic abuse community as future faking, which is basically when they promise the possibility of something tomorrow so that you would do something today. Again, that is really, really toxic. There's no reason why a large cap corporation would be doing that. And in reality, this cannot be done in a lot of jobs. If you're in law enforcement, there's no way to quiet quit. You could get shot. So I think this is corporations mostly freaking out because they're not getting to gaslight people. And the worst against boundaries and it's against consent. And the sooner we realize that, the more we can elevate the conversation.